Wait! That's the wrong music. Roll it again with the right music. It's hard to believe how far the Uncharted series has come, from the humble beginnings of the first game in 2007, now all the way up to the final game here in 2016. Well, they say it's the final game. I believe it's just the final Nathan Drake adventure. I don't believe this is the last game in the franchise. But Uncharted 4 manages to rise the series to new heights and works as a fantastic send-off to Nathan Drake, even if it's not quite the 10 out of 10 game people are claiming it to be. Uncharted 4's story takes place a few years after the events of Uncharted 3. Nathan Drake is now retired from fortune hunting and now works for Jameson Marine, a company specializing in salvaging equipment lost at sea. Despite adjusting to normal life, however, Nate is longing for one last adventure because he misses the thrill. And, seemingly right on cue, his long-lost brother Sam shows up.
Yeah, I'm, looking for my little brother. About your height, a little bit leaner, definitely less gray in the temples.
Sam?
It's good to see you again, Nathan.
God, Sam.
Oh, all right. Take it easy.
It's a happy reunion, until Sam drops a bombshell on Nate. He has 3 months to find the lost treasure of pirate captain Henry Avery, or he will be killed as he owes a debt to some people who broke him out of prison. Nate, a bit apprehensive at first, decides to join Sam on what becomes his most personal and darkest tale yet. The story in Uncharted 4 is actually quite good. It's very well written and the characters are really likable. I really like Drake in this game a lot more because really it's a more personal journey. Uncharted 3 was a very personal journey for him, but this is even more of a personal journey. And I love how we kind of go into his backstory a little more. We learn about him and Sam growing up together, and so it's really cool. I like how they flesh out his backstory a bit more, and I just love the writing in general. There's some great dialogue in there, great banter between the characters, especially when Sam, Victor Sullivan and Drake are all together. There's some fantastic banter and there's brilliant dialogue. I love it. Just overall, I enjoyed the story. I have a few issues, though. One thing, as admirable and as well done it is, the fact that Naughty Dog managed to tell the whole, where the hell has Sam been kind of thing. It still feels contrived, because it's still weird how Nate would never mention his brother. You know, it's weird. I can't say. Well, he thinks that his brother was dead, but you think he would have mentioned him at some point, considering, and you see early on that, I won't spoil too much, but you see that they kind of grew up together quite closely. So it's really strange that Nate would never mention his brother. But okay. The two villains of the game as well, Nadine Ross, the mercenary leader of Shoreline, a mercenary company, and Rafe Adler, I find them to be not as interesting as the villains from the previous game. I found Catherine Marlowe and Talbot in Uncharted 3 to be very threatening and very unpredictable, and that's why I loved them. They were brilliant villains. I just don't find these ones as interesting. I mean, they're all right, but they're okay. I mean, they're not amazing. But overall, I think the story is great, and the ending really kind of closes the book on Nathan Drake's story, so that's good as well. So, I like Uncharted 4's story. I like it quite a bit. If you've never played the Uncharted games before, they're basically third-person linear cover shooters with climbing and puzzle solving. The combat has been given a bit of an uplift here. Movement feels a lot more fluid than ever, and going from cover to cover feels a lot better. Also, the weapons feel really meaty and they have great sound effects. There's a huge variety of pistols, shotguns, assault rifles, to more extreme weapons like grenade launchers and rocket launchers. There's a whole host of weapons to play around with, and they all feel and handle great. You can also go in for melee attacks just like in the previous games. You tap the square button to punch an enemy, and your enemies can also counter your moves. You can tap the triangle button if an enemy kind of counters your move and grabs you, and then you can get back the advantage. It's a good system, and I like it very much. It works really, really well, and there's another element to the combat as well. You have now a grappling hook, which you can use to kind of leap from area to area, which kind of is tied into the climbing as well. But with the combat, you can use the grappling hook to basically leap over great distances and also kill enemies with it. You can jump on an enemy and knock him out and take his gun, and I must admit it's quite satisfying to do so. Also new to the combat is stealth. Now, stealth played a part in the previous Uncharted games, but it was very minor. You could maybe kill one or two enemies. That was about it. You wouldn't get really far with the stealth. But in Uncharted 4, they fleshed out the stealth a bit more to make it a viable option. In areas where stealth is possible, there will be kind of tall grass, and what you can do is, when you're in tall grass, if you stop moving while in tall grass, you'll crouch and you won't be seen unless an enemy gets really close to you. Now, the enemies kind of have like a stealth meter that kind of fills up if they see you, and if they see you, but they'll kind of turn yellow, and if you keep moving, they'll turn orange, which means they know you're there. But while they're in this yellow state, they'll just kind of look at the area, and they might alert another guard. They just kind of look at you. They never really go and look at, which I guess is fair enough. Eventually, they'll stop looking, and you can continue. If you take down an enemy while in tall grass, you will hide the body, but you can't hide the body otherwise, which is not great, but you'll get over it. You can tag enemies by aiming with them and clicking in the left stick, and I must admit the stealth works quite well. It's basic, but it works quite well. It builds on it kind of uses a rough draft of what was in The Last of Us, but yeah, it works. It's nothing amazing. It's very basic, but it's a very viable option, and it's a bit of a challenge to try and clear an entire area on stealth. If I had one complaint about if I had a major complaint about the combat, is that on the hard difficulty, the game is ridiculously unfair. If you kind of mess up the stealth, the game punishes you by kind of sending waves of enemies, which I'm not really against, but the annoying is just the amount of damage the enemies can do to you and how many... It takes forever to kill some enemies, and then you have enemies rushing your position, decked out in armor, carrying shotguns, some even carry grenade launchers and miniguns, and it is unbelievably annoying. You've also got snipers, which you have to contend with, and on the hardest difficulty, you'll just be dying over and over and over and over again, and I kind of regretted playing through the game on hard. I played through most of the game again on moderate, and it feels like a much more balanced difficulty. So if you are going to play Uncharted 4, play through it first on moderate to get a much better experience. Play through it then on hard, and then crushing once you've beaten the game. But overall, I think the combat's really good. It feels great. The climbing, not really much to say. It works pretty much the same as it did in the other games. You've now got the grappling hook, which I mentioned, and you've also got the piton, which you don't get until the end of the game. You can use the piton similar to the climbing axe in Tomb Raider, though unlike the climbing axe in Tomb Raider, you can only place it in one spot, so you have to kind of be a little clever with how you use it. It works quite well. I like the climbing. I forgot to mention about the combat. You have support AI. They're mostly useless on the harder difficulties. If you play it on the easier difficulties, they help you out a bit more. But on the harder difficulties, they're kind of useless. They'll take out an enemy every now and again, which you can then knock them out quite quickly. But that's fine. I don't mind them not being very helpful. But what annoys me sometimes is that enemies will run right past them, and they won't do anything. As in the AI, the support AI will do nothing to them. They'll just let them run right past them, and then you get killed because your friend didn't cover you. And that can be a little frustrating, I gotta admit. But overall, I think the combat's really good, and I think the climbing is great. Puzzles in the game, there's a few of them. Some of them are actually quite hard to figure out. There's a few that are kind of easy, but Yeah, there's a good mix of puzzles, so they're really good, and they're quite well designed, so that's cool. I like the puzzles in Uncharted 4. There's not a whole lot of them. I would have liked a few more, but what you do get, they're quite good. So overall, I think kind of the single-player gameplay is good. Now let's quickly kind of touch on the multiplayer. Actually, quick addendum there, I forgot to mention. There's now vehicles in the game. You have certain moments in the game, where sections in the game where you can drive vehicles. And these are fun. The vehicles control really well. You'll mostly be driving Jeeps, and they're really fun to use. They work really well. You've probably all seen the infamous E3 trailer last year. Yeah, the one where the controller didn't work and they were standing there for 30 seconds. Yeah, that section's really fun to play. There's a lot of great vehicle sections, and there's a kind of few open sandboxy levels where you use the vehicles, and they're fun to play because you can explore a bit and find hidden treasure, and that's pretty fun. So, sorry I forgot to mention that. Now we'll talk about the multiplayer. Now, from my reading of some of the reviews that people have done on the internet of the game, and from watching some YouTube reviews, I found that people have been actually glossing over the multiplayer. There's actually a great article by Ian Hickton of Eurogamer, which I will leave a link in the description, describing why people shouldn't ignore the Uncharted 4 multiplayer, and I'm inclined to agree with him, because the multiplayer is actually really fun. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's really fun. It has 3 game modes: Team Deathmatch, which is Team Deathmatch, Plunder, which is basically capture the flag, and Command, which is domination, though they have little kind of... so that kind of separate them. The thing about Command is, during the match, a random player will be picked as the captain, and as the captain you get a discount on the items that you can buy in the store. You can revive people a lot faster, and there's a few other perks. The catch is, though, if an enemy kills the captain, or you kill their captain, you get extra points for killing them. There's a little twist, and the more the captain kills and survives, their rank increases, and it means their point bounty is bigger. And that's a cool little idea. I like that mode. It's pretty fun. It takes the idea... the major thing I like about the multiplayer is it takes one of my favorite aspects from The Last of Us and translates it into Uncharted. Let me explain. In The Last of Us, in the multiplayer, you earn scrap during the matches, and you could use that to build armor and build other kinds of things. It was a cool idea, and it worked really well. You do a similar thing here in Uncharted. During the match, you earn money, and you can use this money to buy things like mystics. These are kind of like throwable items that have like special abilities. For example, you can call in the Wrath of El Dorado, which sort of sends in the spinning El Dorado, and it shoots out these kind of deadly kind of ghostly spectre type thing, and it'll kill you within a matter of seconds. And you can also call in sidekicks. You've got like brutes who are which is what I use. They have armor and they have miniguns. And you can get soldiers, you get medics who can revive people a lot faster, but they take a lot more damage quite quickly. And yeah, so it's cool. It's very well balanced, the sidekicks. They kind of all have their advantages and disadvantages, and none of them feels too overpowered. And you can also use the money to revive the gear that you're carrying, whether it be a revive pack, which you can use to revive people a lot quicker, a grenade, and so on and so forth. I like this system. I liked it in The Last of Us, and I love it here in Uncharted. And the multiplayer... it works brilliantly because it takes the already excellent gameplay from the single player and brings it up to the next level. It makes it a lot of fun. The grappling hook makes an appearance here, and it's really fun to use, and it's just a really fun game. Like in the previous Uncharted games, you have a variety of allies and villains to choose from. If you want to get some of them are locked behind the Uncharted points in the relics system. Now, every match or every challenge you complete, you earn relics. And what you can do with these relics is you can use them to buy a vanity chest, which is like a random loot drop. So you'll either get some customization items, or you'll get a character sometimes. And you could spend them on one-time boosters, which you can only use once, and they help you. Now, if you want to buy characters, customization items outside of the relics, you have to buy them using Uncharted points, which is the game's form of microtransactions. Now, thankfully, the microtransactions only really seem to affect customization. They don't affect the gameplay at all, so that's good. But I'm still not a big fan of them. I can get over it. The vanity chest sort of makes up for it, but it's still not great. I'm not the biggest fan of microtransactions, no matter what the game. So, but at least here they're kind of tame and they don't really matter. Other things to mention about the multiplayer: the loadout. With the loadout, you get a number. It's similar to Call of Duty. You get a limited number of points. The weapon you pick and what sidekick you want, they all cost points. So you have to kind of pick and choose, and it works well. You can do private matches, you can find matches. There's a good variety of maps, I will admit that. They're very nicely sized, and there's good opportunities for good fights. There's loads of different perks. I'll just quickly mention what I don't like about the multiplayer. For one thing, it's a little buggy. I find that I'm having connection issues, even though my internet's working absolutely perfectly. And my friend has had the problem too. I've had times where I had a really weird glitch. Hopefully you'll be seeing it right now, where I took cover, and one of my teammates kind of took cover, kind of at my position, and he pushed me into the wall, and I was stuck in the wall, and the enemies on the other side could see because I was on I was kind of sticking out the other side, and they got a free kill. So I don't know, but despite the few bugs and a few other problems, the multiplayer for the most part is really fun. I think it's one of the more fun multiplayers I've played in a while, so I'm definitely going to play more of it. Uncharted 4 is a beautiful looking game, whether you're prowling on the rooftops of an auction house in Italy, or whether you're driving through the crowded streets of a small market town in Madagascar. There's a lot to see and there's a lot to look at, and it's beautiful. It's very well detailed, the character models look amazing, they animate very well, and during the cutscenes, some of the motion capture and just the animations are just so brilliant. They do a great job. I think the game looks brilliant graphically. The campaign's at 1080p and 30 frames per second, the multiplayer is 900p at 60. So, and it doesn't really lose that much in the multiplayer, but overall I think the game looks kind of good. It has a few low resolution textures here and there, but it looks good for the most part.
Come meet her. Tonight, dinner at my place. You're coming to dinner. I can tell her all about you.
Shit, I gotta tell her all about you.
I can fault the sound in Uncharted 4, even if I tried. The voice acting is really good across the board. Nolan North and Troy Baker do stellar jobs as the Drake brothers, and just overall the voice acting is perfect. The music, absolutely fantastic. I love the new theme, and I love the sound effects, and everything else is good, so sounds pretty much perfect. Uncharted 4's main campaign will take you about 12 to 15 hours to finish on a first playthrough. There is reason to go back to collect all the treasures that you've missed and the journal entries, and to play the game on a higher difficulty. You also unlock a bonus mode where you can get these cool like cheats and different filters to play around with. And you'll definitely get a lot of time also out of the multiplayer if you enjoy it. So you definitely get a lot for your money here in Uncharted. So let's just jump to the final verdict.
Samuel, are you ready to seek your fortune? Yeah.
Uncharted 4 is the perfect end to Nathan Drake's story, with a brilliant storyline that provides the great sense of closure, the big improvements on the gameplay, including the stealth and the climbing aspects, the excellent multiplayer, the amazing graphics. There's just everything combined together makes Uncharted 4 an amazing game. It's not 10 out of 10 worthy, not even close. Okay, kind of close, but the game is still great. So I give Uncharted 4 an 8.5 out of 10. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys again. Goodbye.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better in life. Santos, the Fresh Maker.